Hello, welcome. Special edition stream. I'm Milo, and this...
It's Kathy Wise.
Kathy Wise, that's right. She's her real name. We going? Gibbons here in the chat, hello. Today we're playing some co-op games, and this is a game that we actually play regularly, co-op. I think I announced it, but I hadn't started the stream yet, and Gibbons here saying, hello, what's going on? So I run that there just so I can check everything looks right sometimes. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, we're using a kind of complicated setup today. I've decided to use a face cam because we've got two people here. Oh. Which I don't usually do. Hello! So yeah, I think we're ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Kaboom!
Have you said what we're playing?
Oh, we're playing Lego Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The tie-in game for the movie that is, 3 years old at this point? So, yeah, like I said, we play this regularly in our own time, so we're quite a ways through the game. We're kind of doing free play cleanup at this point. I'm going to make that chat larger, because it's all the way over here. That's better. So I'm doing a thing where you can have, it's called PS4 Remote Play, and you can use a Vita or a computer with a controller attached to send gameplay from your PS4 to another device as long as it's on a Wi-Fi network somewhere. Now we just happen to have it locally so that I can capture the window that we're using and stream that out, as well as having the good microphone, because you can stream from the PS4 but then you have to have this dinky little microphone, and with both of us, and then I wouldn't have a face cam, and yeah, it was a toss-up. We almost decided to play Lego Dimensions, but you're unable to stream that through remote play. I mean, it wouldn't work anyway remotely. You need the portal and the figures and everything. Just imagine that. What if you had like a telepresence robot arm or something? Seems complicated.
I don't think they're that advanced. You'd need a separate remote.
It'd be a way to do online co-op. If one person had the portal in one location and someone else was in another location, you could still play with them.
You'd need two controllers, one for controlling the robot and one for controlling the game.
That's right. Well, you've only got two hands and you usually use them to move the pieces anyway. You're only doing one or the other. But you need to switch those. Anyway, so what are we doing today? We're just playing the game the way we normally do, but we're streaming it this time.
You need to pick a level so that I can join, because this game annoyingly has this feature in co-op where you can't see your progress in a level.
Yeah, so
on the map.
There's the map feature. No, this one. You hit the touchpad and then you got the map of the area, which is really nice, actually. Especially with these large hub-based areas. And then you go to the galaxy map, and from there you can pick a level to do, for example, like this. But that UI at the bottom of the screen that tells you how many collectibles you've got and in what areas they are doesn't actually show up unless you're in single-player mode. So someone always has to drop out. Anyway, there's an order I want to play these levels, if you don't mind. I was going to go through the extra levels that aren't part of the film's story, because there's these extra levels. Sorry, I've got my notes here. There's a chronology to them, sort of. It's kind of hints at this order that they go in. Yeah, this one's the first one, Crimson Corsair.
Yeah, okay. Of course you remember.
But we are playing in free play mode, so we're not actually going to really experience the story per se as it's presented in the game, but still. Tony's here too. He's asking, what are your thoughts on ducks?
Ducks are fine.
Good. Oh, I'm actually wearing my chicken. Anyway, close enough. I went for the on-brand shirt today, and you're actually wearing your Star Wars shirt. Yeah, nice. It is pointless to resist.
Yep.
I think, is that a panel from a comic or something?
I don't know, it's a Uniqlo shirt.
Made to look like it. This is Uniqlo as well, actually.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Uniqlo not sponsoring this stream.
Yes, now, the restriction on myself, because this year I'm always playing games with female protagonists, I'm only going to pick female characters for these free play sessions. You can pick whatever you want. I'm not imposing that on you.
Oh, good. I don't even know what most gender most of these are.
For example, there's only one BB unit in the whole game, and it's BB-8. BB-8 in the movie is male, although in the development of the film, they originally thought it was going to be a female robot, but they changed it. My headcanon is that it's still a girl robot, but anyway, who can we pick? So in this level, what they normally do is give you Sidon Ithano, who is a background character you see for 5 seconds, and his crewmates are Bruce Weavant, this little guy with the blue beard. He filled in as Ben in our role-playing game.
Oh, yeah.
Because you got little tokens in the Force Awakens role-playing game. And who's the other guy? I forget his name, but he's like a kind of lumpy potato-faced guy with a peg leg. And what I really like about these extra levels, especially ones that have casts like this of new characters, is that you get to know them, whereas in the films, you, like I said, you literally see them for 5 seconds. I'm just going to go pick Sabine, because she's had some good episodes in Rebels recently. Okay. Gibbon says, they made such a big deal out of the Crimson Corsair prior to release, and then he basically wasn't in the film. Yeah, he's basically Force Awakens version of Boba Fett, kind of. But he's got a comic and toys and the cover of the visual encyclopedia and a bonus campaign in this game. Yeah, until the bonus campaign in this game, I didn't care about the guy. Like, the fact that they're making all this merchandise of him is really stupid. And people like Constable Zuvio, like, had an action figure and a name and everything, but have absolutely no presence in the movie. At least Sidon Ithano, he's the guy that Finn almost goes on his crew with when he's going to abandon them at Maz's castle.
I don't remember that from the movie, but I remember it from the Lego.
Yeah.
This tends to be my problem with these movies, is that I play these games for so much longer than you see the movies.
Yeah.
Like, even like the original Star Wars movies, which I love and have watched a lot of times, I'm sure I've played way more hours of Lego games of them.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
you remember the Lego level and not the actual movie.
Yeah, so until I played basically this level in the game, I didn't feel any attachment to this character, but them putting this stuff in really helps, I think. They have all these voice lines during the level, although I don't think you're going to get that in free play. But yeah, it's really cool. That's why I like normally having a Lego game about just one film means that it feels like there isn't enough content, but they fleshed it out in this way with like these 8 extra levels.
And the hubs are really nice and big as well.
So at least it's going to play this cutscene before it starts. Sidon doesn't talk in basic. I don't know what language he speaks. I'm just going to say it's Huttese because why not? His species hasn't been represented anywhere else, so we don't even know what he looks like under the helmet. Just a new thing that they came up with for the film. So this is kind of the start of this loose campaign in the extra levels, where this pirate crew has been contracted by the Resistance to steal a ship, which then gets it's just a basic first order shuttle, and then Poe uses it in a later level on his mission to rescue Akbar.
Yeah.
So all of these happened before the events of the film. He's got a character profile on StarWars.com with screenshots. Gibbon's talking about the Super Star Wars games. I played, I think, the first one at a friend's house, who's in Wanuna.
I'm Captain Phasma.
And then he was really aware of the music in any given scene because of the soundtrack from the game. Working at overtime. Alright, so I'm Sabine. Phasma is cool. Actually, I've heard her described as the Boba Fett of this film. Let's see, gold. So we actually need Phasma or someone else with rapid fire to hit this boulder. I think one of the characters they give you in this level has a rapid fire gun. I'll see if I can find that lumpy potato man. It might take too long. Is that him? Yeah, Quiggold. That's his name. But I can't pick him because of my restriction. Phasma. Gibbon is totally in love with Phasma.
Phasma is pretty cool.
She is. I was just saying before how there's only one BB unit in this game. You can see a couple more in the background of certain scenes in like the Resistance base and stuff, but they didn't include them in the game.
Lame.
we have all the characters unlocked. So if you ever see a round switch thing, and there's a few of them in the game, BB-8 is the only one who's able to do it. I always thought BB-8 was kind of not a very distinctive name. Like, a lot of other droids have their model number and then 2 other digits, but only 1 other digit means there can only be up to 10. I guess he was a really early model then.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess. All the other ones have 2 other digits. 2BB2, I think, is the one that you see in the background. He has a different shaped head, and I think he's blue or something. I wrote down a few other ones that were prominent
in this movie, as opposed to like the evil BB-8 in the other
movie. That's right. There is that one in Last Jedi that kind of rats out Rose and Finn on the Snoke's flagship, whatever that's called. Let's see, I'll build this first.
Oh, I'm choking someone up there. Cool.
Yeah, so that black BB unit that the First Order owns was called, in development by the producers and by fans, BB-8, as a play on BB-8, but I think its official name is BB-9E.
Oh.
Yeah, alright. So I'm going to need some force powers here.
I guess that means if it's 9E, right, the 2-digit numbers are actually at least base 16, not base
10, you're right.
So you can get more numbers in there.
We could have any letter, not just 16, right? Because that's... 16 is hexadecimal?
Yeah.
That only goes up to G, is that right?
Yeah. F.
I don't know what this robot is doing. Oh, you managed to destroy it when I didn't. Maybe you needed Dark Force.
Dark Force!
Yep. Actually, about Phasma, there's another BB unit that was in the Phasma solo comic, or spin-off comic.
What are we supposed to do with this?
I don't know.
Okay,
let's destroy it. This whole multi-build concept in this game was one of the kind of features that they advertised, but I think it's a bit overrated.
Yeah, mostly it's just annoying.
Yeah, kind of an annoying gimmick.
Yeah. There's either like one thing that's useless or a really specific order you have to build stuff in.
Yeah, which is the worst, because you build something, then you have to destroy it and then build it again.
Yeah. And you're like,
the other gimmick feature they introduced, which is the cover shooter sections.
Oh.
She hates them. I think they aren't very good. They break up the pace, and they're kind of restrictive and just not that fun.
Get in the way.
Is this the right way to go? I guess so. So I'm going to go back to Sabine to blow this up. So the Phasma comic had a BB unit called BB-K8. I haven't read the comic, but I guess that's a more prominent role than a lot of the BB units. Like, I looked up the category of them on Wikipedia, and there's quite a few listed there, maybe a dozen or so, but a lot of them are just in this like droid repair game that was for the some VR headset.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, so BB-8 is like the flagship character of that game, but then there's other ones that you can interact with to repair them or something. Sorry, I accidentally blew up this thing that stops the electricity. Okay, so we've got all the mini kit detectors on, so we should be able to see everything we need through the arrows.
Ooh.
What's this about?
I don't know.
First order, you can do it.
Okay. Let's see if I can.
We can. We also have fast interact. So a lot of these terminals and stuff in the base game have little mini games that you have to do, little tasks to unlock them. But with this, you just bypass them all straight away. It's much more convenient, especially at the free play stage of the game. Let's see, who else was there? Oh yeah, BB-00. That was a cool one. The IDW comics for younger audiences that they're running now called Star Wars Adventures. Like, often issues have a main story and then there's a backup story, which is the crew of this one ship late on in the universe, post the current movie era even, telling stories about things that happened in the past, and one of the crew is a BB, a little green BB unit called BB00, and they call him Boo for short. And, yeah, he's pretty cool. Sabine should be able to double jump, right? Yeah, Phasma's actually very useful in this game because of her rapid fire gun. Normally, you would have to I guess the default way that you destroy gold stuff early on in the game, at least, is by using the flame trooper.
Once you've got him.
Yeah, but you get him earlier than anyone else, I think.
We deliberately went and got him. I don't think you have to.
Ah, yeah, true.
What was the point of that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I also don't know how to get past this part exactly.
Oh, you don't have a gun?
A gun? I have a gun, but
in this
game, not all characters with guns have grapples, unlike the original Lego Star Wars.
That's very confusing to me.
It is. Oh, I know, a jetpack. Sabine doesn't have a jetpack yet. She gets one in season 3 of the show. Who has a jetpack? Oh, I know. Seventh Sister can use her lightsaber spinny thing to float, which is something they do only in the last couple of episodes of season 2. Okay, we don't need to bother with any of this. We've got all the collectibles in that section.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow. That's exciting.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, we also have super strength cheat on, which means anyone can do strength handles. We have all the cheats on, basically. Except for the annoying ones, like disco sabers. Or silly sabers, it is.
Yeah, silly sabers isn't that bad. The ones that change the music are the most annoying.
Alright, I need someone short. Someone small. Oh, I know, young Ray. Baby Ray.
Aw, you're so cute.
My parents abandoned me.
They sold you.
Is Ray owned by Unkar Plot though? Like, she's effectively owned by him, but I don't think she's a literal slave.
No. Oh, thanks for the bridge.
I feel like a sound effect was missing there.
Yeah, there was a crash that was missing.
QuickTime events! So immersive. Hey, what's this lizard? It's so cute.
Kill it!
Okay. You bloodthirsty monster.
Oh, 2 out of 3 lizards.
We've probably already done that. There's no arrows on it. Oops. But yeah, I find the Lego... I find that Force Awakens is a good fit for the heroine's idea of my streams, because Rey is sort of the first female lead of a Star Wars movie. Even though the movie's kind of supposed to have 3 leads, really, Rey is kind of the main character. It's too bad though that they made this game, you know, pretty early before The Last Jedi, because you don't get BB-9E, you don't get Rey having Jedi powers, you don't get Rose, of course. She's like probably my top favorite character from
where's that
the
arrow
new
pointing to?
era at the moment.
Oh,
maybe
over
on
there?
this platform.
Yeah. Oh, we're both Phasma.
No, we can't both be Phasma. Well, you can be the Wampa. I think a comic in Star Wars Tales portrayed the Wampa that Luke fought with as a mother, as a female. But it's not clear.
I don't know where that arrow is pointing to.
It might be a later part of the level.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're a bit buggy like that. Annoyingly. This one we gotta blow up. Back to Sabine. Oh, I get confused sometimes because I played through the whole 3DS version of this game, which had slightly different button mapping. Ranged weapons were always circle, and melee attacks were square. Oh,
How can we get up there?
well, there wasn't that on the 3DS, but positionally. Looks like force powers. Help us out, Mr. Anakin. Oh, or, yep, Rowan works too.
I can't jump there.
Rowan doesn't double jump?
Apparently not.
What? He's a Jedi. Well, he's a Force builder. He never had any actual Jedi training. Closest he got was like Jack 14, teaching him some stuff about Force building. And Jack 14 is decidedly not Jedi or Sith. Okay, I need to switch back to someone. Since you're too busy jumping around it over there.
I'm trying to... I couldn't trigger it. I was not getting the trigger.
Okay.
So that's why I'm trying to get up there. See?
I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, there was a stormtrooper down there.
So I was trying to get up there to see if the zone for activating it was further back.
Sorry. I'm going to try and fly over there with Sister.
Okay.
Who... The theory is that it's Barriss Offee become an Inquisitor. Where is she? It's really hard to pass this screen in co-op mode because it's quite a big screen with a lot of characters on it, and it becomes squished and really long. Oh, we have a new viewer that I don't recognize. Red Synced, welcome. They're asking, they didn't release any DLC for the new movies. No, they didn't. They sort of made this game, they had the DLC planned out, and then they stopped supporting it. So the DLC that's in here is really cool and interesting with the new story events. This is what we're doing right now. This is something that takes place before The Force Awakens. But no, they didn't. That was something I hoped would happen with Hobbit as well, that they would, since it was released after the second movie, that they would go back and put in stuff relating to the third movie, but then the third movie turned out to be kind of
not worth
pointless.
You could put all the plot of the third movie in, and it would take.
They basically did. There was kind of an extra level where you just break a bunch of stuff, and yeah, that was pretty much it.
Movie, yeah.
Okay.
So what are we actually supposed to be doing here?
We're supposed to be taking down this force field by going over this gap.
Oh.
And then breaking some stuff over here, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe we can get onto that platform from this side.
Oh yeah. It's worth a try. Given saying he doesn't know where to put lost stars in his timeline. Now that is a novel, possibly a young adult novel that got converted into a comic, and it's about two characters who are on opposite sides of the conflict. I can't actually remember if they're Imperial or if they're First Order and Resistance, Imperial and Rebel, but yeah. And yes, it is disappointing that there's no Lego Last Jedi.
Oh, this is Silver.
I saw Solo recently and was disappointed that there's no Lego Solo. And there's no Lego Rogue One. I want Lego everything. Okay, so that should stop that. And then there's the searchy thing, which just happens automatically because we have interaction skip thing. So we've made that. Oh, okay, it goes from 11 years before New Hope up to the Battle of Jakku. So it is Imperials and Rebels. Or should I say Alliance? The Alliance to restore the Republic. Although if it's at Battle of Jakku, they're already the New Republic by that point, I think. After the Aftermath trilogy. Yeah, that makes sense. I do have trouble with those things that span a long period of time. Stuff like Battlefront Elite Squadron, or another example that I can think of, I'm sure. Oh.
Oh, is this the end of the level? We didn't work out how to get that thing.
Ah, dang. That's okay, we'll do it another time. We won't fill up the stream with duplicate content. I like quick upload. like that in the Lego Star Wars universe, characters can just exist in space. Like, their ships get blown up and then they're just standing there talking in space. I think in this game, instead of Kylo Ren killing Lor San Tekka, he like kicks him and he flies off into orbit. And then later on you see him like just floating around. Yeah. Yeah, timelines are tricky. Trying to work out the timeline of the extra levels in this game. Luckily that was a helpful game facts thread that basically put it all together for me. Oh well. We didn't get the fancy ship. I think we already have that ship though, at least the minifigure version.
I think we have the full-size version.
Either way. Anyway.
Ships don't actually matter that much.
No. They're pretty much all the same in the way they play.
Yeah. Oh. There's another annoying bug in this game where until you actually get the split screen, the second person can't drop out.
And if you open the map, you can't drop out at that point. You have to have maps closed and everything. Yeah. Alright, so the next one, I don't think we need to bother with that because I know what the orders are and I know we haven't completed them all and we're just going to play through them. So, is that okay?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So, in fact, why don't you join and then you can pick a character too when we start.
Okay.
So, yes, after the Crimson Corsairs crew gets that ship, then we go to Tall for some reason that I forget, but this level's pretty cool. There's a comic that has a similar premise to this as well, actually. C-3PO is left alone on a ship with a bunch of other droids, and he's kind of in charge.
Ooh, aerobic stormtrooper.
In fact, I'm going to pick a droid to fit the theme, and I'm going to pick PZ4CO because she is... You see her in the background of like the car scenes in the Resistance control room or whatever. I think she's supposed to be a protocol droid, like a tactical droid or something. Oh, okay. So Phasma is confirmed for Resistance. That's nice. Given's very excited that Gwendolyn Christie is reprising her role. They did pretty well with that in Rebels, actually, getting the film's actors back to reprise their roles. Like they had Billy Dee as Lando Calrissian in a few episodes. Although he even did some Lego shorts, so he's pretty keen to come back to the character, apparently. That's another thing, actually. Some of the extra levels are based on prior material that already existed. That one was sort of original, but it's kind of insubstantial. This leads into the Phantom Limb, which is not packed with the game, but is a DLC. But I think it was free DLC on the PlayStation Network at launch. It's now become cross-platform. But yeah, the Phantom Limb, you know, it tells the story of how C-3PO got his red arm. That's based on a comic story that they published around the time of the movie. And I think it's one of the better stories of these extra levels. But then I found out it was based on a comic, and I figured, okay, that's why it has a sort of more fleshed out events, because it's based on something that someone else wrote. What was I saying? Yeah, so there's like Lego animated shorts called The Resistance Rises, and Poe rescuing Akbar is based on one of those. But then there's, I think, 5 other episodes that don't have levels based on that. Oh, okay, so Oscar Isaac is back as Poe as well. Interesting. But Phasma is more important to get it. Yeah, sometimes they get sound-alikes to do it instead. I just watched the episode of Rebels, actually, where Obi-Wan Kenobi shows up, or should I say, Ben Kenobi. And, well, Alec Guinness is dead. And they didn't get Ewan McGregor to do it, even though there's been suggestions of him playing older Obi-Wan in a live-action movie. They got cool. They got Steven Stanton to do it, who plays AP5, the cranky protocol droid in the show. Great character. He also played Tarkin whenever he shows up. And I don't think he's the same guy who plays Tarkin in Rogue One. for the
I don't
voice.
seem to be able to kill anyone as this character. Let me try someone who might have
PZ does
some
not have
kind
a
of
gun.
weapon.
I need to pick someone with a gun. How about Lieutenant Wright? She's in a DLC level later on. She's really cool. She's Irish. Or should I say Space Irish? Wait, who are we killing?
The people. I don't know.
Why are we... Who are these people? These kind of look like Resistance people.
I think they're Resistance people.
Is this a bit where we were playing the bad guys in the level?
Yeah.
Okay. That does happen from time to time. Oh, I
Where's
need...
that one guy? Oh.
I need a visor thing. Someone who can see hidden things. And a ray cam. Yes, ray. Okay, so that has revealed something over there. I think we're probably Phasma at this point in this level.
Yeah.
Because we have to do a gold thing right now. Where's Phasma? They put him under Captain. Put him under their full title is part of the alphabetical list of their name.
I can't move in this one. That's annoying.
Oh, you can't come over here?
No.
Alright, let me blow this up and then should get some more mobility. Yeah, so it was actually interesting in that episode because they had the guy who did Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars reprising his role as a young Obi-Wan for a holocron recording, but then when they got to Ben on Tatooine, he had a different voice, which makes sense because
Explosive.
one is imitating Ewan McGregor and one is imitating Alec Guinness. Let's see, Oracing. Oops, I hit the wrong button. Oracing should have detonators. Because she's a bounty hunter. Nope, she just has a sniper rifle. That's another thing. In the original LEGO Star Wars, you could be sure if you pick a bounty hunter, they have thermal detonators. It's a bit more mixed up in this game. Well, I know Sabine had some, so let's pick her. We haven't had any dropouts so far, so that's good. When I was testing the remote play thing, there was a bit of... Oh, you did it. Cool. There was a bit of losing connection and such at times. Cool. There's still an arrow here, though.
I think it's round the corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, Maul, can you, like, do this stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. I think it's Stephen Arnold Taylor does young Obi-Wan. Or middle-aged Obi-Wan or whatever.
Don't seem to be able to get that one.
Maybe that's further around as well. I bet it is. Yeah, so what I was leading up to with that is that Darth Vader appears in Rebels, and they actually got James Earl Jones to reprise the role from the movies. But I kind of had an issue with that because in this kind of spin-off material, I was so used to Matt Sloan doing the voice of Vader that James Earl Jones sounded wrong to me, which felt really weird. But the other thing is he's much older now, and his voice has changed. You also notice that with things like Mark Hamill came back to play the young Luke being trained by Yoda in an episode of Forces of Destiny, and even to a lesser extent with Billy D. Williams as Lando. Their voices have changed. They sound much older than they did. And yet they're playing these characters as their young selves. Or at their, previous ages that they were in the films or whatever. Okay, Resistance. Who's in the Resistance? Oh, actually, it said PZ could do that, so I might switch back to that. This has got to be a secret. Yeah, bonus room down here. Boom. Well, that's a good thing that they added in this game, is that all characters basically have a kind of attack now. In the original LEGO Star Wars, like, Jar Jar couldn't attack, droids couldn't attack at all, except, like, R2-D2's shock probe. But everyone can attack, and everyone can run faster, too.
That's very...
Oh,
because C-3PO used to be, like, the worst
so slow.
character.
Yeah, you'd hate having to get stuck with him to use him for something. But PZ trots along at a fairly brisk pace. I don't know if it's actually as fast as every other character, but it at least doesn't feel like you're completely handicapped. Oh yeah, there was a red brick in there, I just got it.
Okay, cool.
Because robots can't get frozen. Although realistically, they should be able to, like, their joints. Doesn't 3PO complain about his joints getting frozen on Hoth?
Yeah. That is a thing.
Seizing up or something? Oh, maybe that was on Tatooine, actually. Like freezing, but not water freezing, but like freezing up.
Protocol droid as well. Handy. Handy if you need to get into this linen cupboard.
Cleaning supplies.
Like nothing in here.
It's possible we already did it.
Yeah. Oh, I should do these.
Smash. Boom. Oh, They're cowards for not making a Darth Jar Jar joke campaign for their prequel trilogy collection. Wow. That's actually an interesting point, like joke campaigns and stuff, because the extra events in this game are classified as capital C canon for the new Star Wars like franchise. So there's a lot of silliness in them, but the actual events that happen are considered to be part of the official story, which is interesting. And it actually is good in that way because it means that the stories kind of make sense. They're not just like written off as jokes. There's some effort put into like the dialogue and stuff. And I think actually we can thank, I didn't write it down, but it's in one of my tabs. I was looking up some of the developers of this game because TT Fusion actually made this one. Yeah, so a name that I noticed in the credits. Oh, I've lost it. Never mind.
Why no zone?
Like, I knew the name John Burton. What's wrong?
There's no activation zone for this force thing.
Stand further away, maybe? And then face it? Stand up to the side? I don't know. That annoys me too.
Oh.
By the way, the DLC for this game is cool because it adds a bunch of characters from the rest of the series, including, as you can see, Rebels characters, Freemaker Adventures characters. But it's kind of necessary in a way, at least for my enjoyment, because being based on just one film as it is, it feels like they've fleshed out this huge character roster with so much filler. Like, there are characters from the original movies included as like bonus Carbonite characters, so you got Yoda and Wicket and stuff, although Wicket was in the prologue level. But when there's so many like of those background characters we were talking about that you feel no connection to at all, like who is GA97? Who is Razu Kin Fi?
I don't know, but I know who Darth Maul is.
Exactly, and so having access to all those other characters as DLC fleshes it out and makes it feel better. Oh yeah, we do have the sparkles instead of explosions. Red brick turned on. But yeah, I was going to say John Burton, whose name has come up recently in popular circles for his work on a director's cut for Sonic 3D Blast. Well, he originally was on the development team for Sonic 3D Blast back when Traveler's Tales made non-Lego games. Imagine that.
Wow.
They did it once upon a time, but then Lego Star Wars was so successful that they kind of got saddled with that forever.
I can't open those.
I don't think there's anything important in there anyway.
Cool. Just kill a bunch of guys.
So John Burton is credited on this game as creative consultant. He's the head and founder of Traveler's Tales, the studio. But like I was saying, this game itself was not actually made by the main studio because I think at the time they were busy on making Dimensions and continuing to make content for that as that continued for a year or two. So as a result, TT Fusion, who is a separate studio that was bought by Traveler's Tales at some point, I think before they'd even actually released any games, they were bought by Traveler's Tales and contracted to do the handheld versions of all the Lego games. And yeah, that lasted until basically Traveler's Tales was too busy on Dimensions to do both, so sort of Fusions did the main game and the handheld game at the same time.
Yeah.
And as a result, the handheld game actually feels a lot closer to what the main game is.
Makes sense.
If that makes sense. Which is actually kind of a loss because I really liked it when the handheld game had different content and different feel and stuff that made it stand out more and made it like acceptable as a separate product, you know, or made it feel better to play in addition. Whereas when I played both of these, as we were going through this, I was also playing the 3DS version. I was like, it's kind of too similar, you know. And instead of things
Feels
being
like one game.
streamlined, they're more feeling like they've just been cut back. So the hub area is much smaller, and I think some of the missions are like sort of unique, but not really enough to make it really interesting, I think. Alright, so there's something here. Oh, can you see up above where I am?
Oh yeah.
There's a mini kit floating in space, so we're gonna have to.
Oh, we gotta force it down.
Yeah. So we're gonna find that zone again. Oh, here, I found it. I found the zone. Oh yeah, Gibbon says that he thinks the problem is that the Lego games are now so damn big that they can't really do them rapidly or with smaller teams anymore. So they're gonna have to get through their backlog before getting into any new Star Wars games, if that ever even happens again. Yeah, and I mean, there's issues with that, obviously, with Disney and stuff. Although they have clearly, I think for a while there, they were sort of less likely to do a Lego Disney game because of Disney Infinity, but then that's shut down now. So, I mean, they still made Marvel Lego games in that time, and now they've got the Incredibles. I think it's only a matter of time before there's another Lego Star Wars that comes out.
I hope so, because I got tired of Lego superhero games.
That's a good point, and I do too, but they're actually some of the most fun games to play to me, because the superhero powers are like kind of big and crazy and give you all sorts of gameplay fun stuff you can do, like flying around the big city hubs. I think is really cool.
As long as it's not too laggy.
Yeah, that was a problem. We usually play these games on Wii U up until now, when they were being released on that platform, because you could both have a full screen experience with one on the gamepad and one on the TV instead of the split screen like what we're doing now. The downside to that, of course, is that since the game's processing both of those at once and the Wii U might be a little underpowered compared to current gen, the frame rate really suffered.
And also Lego games are just super buggy.
they're not well optimized, to put it
so
lightly.
you need more power than you actually should, because they just are badly made.
I don't remember too many game-breaking crashes in this particular game.
Yeah, I think we might have had one, but that's pretty good for a Lego game.
Yeah, I actually had a few on the 3DS version.
Oh.
So that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And really uncommon too for 3DS software.
Yeah.
Like I had stuff where it would crash back to the home screen or just soft lock, and I had to shut off the console.
Wow, I don't think I've ever had that with a 3DS game. Of course, you get that all the time on Wii U games, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Wii U Lego games.
Especially Wii U Lego games. Okay, we need binoculars again. Quadnoculars or whatever they're called. What were Luke's one's called? Hydro binoculars, I don't know. Yes, so this is the first order droid. His head looks like forearms, I think. So I think during this level in the story mode, you're playing as Omri and Phasma and troopers, getting through it. But you get to this point when all the humans...
Dead.
Well, not Phasma. Yeah, they evacuate. But then Omri gets left behind. And so it's just droids from then on. Oh, right. They kick all the droids out of the escape. Oh, that was great. That was really good. That cutscene. Okay.
I'm glad this game lets you stream the cutscenes.
We're not streaming though. We're capturing the remote
Yeah.
play.
But
If we were
sometimes
streaming, it might not.
sometimes even the remote play would show
Oh,
cutscenes.
okay, right. Yeah, there's the whole thing where they don't want you to stream cutscenes because intellectual property or something. I don't know. It's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Gibbon. Lego Solo would be so great just for droid stuff alone.
Oh, so much shenanigans.
L3 is best new character from that film.
Yeah, I think that film would make a good Lego game. There's lots of different places
And characters. Set pieces and such. Okay, well, it's clear that the next level should be Phantom Limb because that directly leads on much more than a lot of the other connections that I mentioned. This one is literally like where we just left off is where the next one picks up with the ship crashing onto the Toll. So, let's see if we can pick a droid again. Yeah, R2KT. She's a female astromech. You may not know that Obi-Wan's droid R4 in Episode 2 is actually female as well. The red astromech that he has in his Jedi Starfighter. Although there's actually two R4s because one of them gets junked at some point, and then
What?
there's a different... Well, like it's R4D something and then R4 something else. So, but I think they're both red and they're both female, so they kind of get confused with each other. You play as her in one of the... I think the Camino level in the original Lego Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to the original Lego Star Wars games these days, they just feel so empty.
Yeah. Because they certainly have added a lot of detail over the years with how they render the games. So yeah, this level's cool because you have this whole team of droids with different skills that you switch between.
And you get Rusty 3PO.
Yeah. Over the course of the level, they kind of get picked off, destroyed. But I really like it because of Omri getting character development and especially the cutscene at the end, which we're going to see. But it's the tale of these... Yeah, see, they're from opposite sides of this conflict, but they learn to work together. You get storylines like that happening in Rebels too. Like, spoilers, but things like the episode with Callus and Zeb trapped on Geonosis' moon. That was really good. And when Chopper makes friends with AP5, who's the snarky protocol droid I mentioned earlier. I've been watching Rebels, you haven't.
Yep, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Well, some of them are in this game, as in one of the DLC character packs. But that's mostly the main characters. And it's all based on Season 2
pink
stuff.
R2?
This is R2KT, who I think is named after somebody called Katie. I think I read about it at one point on Wikipedia, but yeah, she's a pink astromech. Yeah, I know. She's pink because she's a girl, obviously, because, you know.
Girls are pink, like, ooh.
Oh, droids can't jump like that. Cool. Actually, these spiders look a bit like the giant spider creatures on Atollon in Series 3 of Rebels.
Oh, they also can't go underwater.
Which is interesting, because a lot of Rebel stuff is based on sort of concept art that Ralph McQuarrie originally made for the movies, just getting recycled. Let's see, you could be Kit Fisto, you could be Jar Jar, Akbar. There was one random guy with a fish head that's like a background character from the film.
I'll just
Trying to think if there's any women who can go underwater. I can't think of any. Okay. Yeah, so the big white spider things on Atollon were supposed to be on Dagobah, and some expanded universe sources actually take that same concept art and insert them into other stories that is based in those areas. So there's expanded universe stories with those spiders on Dagobah, but they're not canon anymore, so now they're on Atollon, etc., etc. It's all rather confusing, really.
Who can do this?
Who can do this? Someone with, like, those techno binoculars or, like, a special helmet or something.
Django Fett.
Yeah, he can fit. I do like how the character select screen actually tells you some of their abilities on the right there. It doesn't actually cover all their abilities, but I tried to hit the top 3, I guess.
And now we need someone with rapid fire.
Phasma!
You gonna get Phasma?
Good default, yeah. You could also pick, like, the Guavian Death Commando or whatever.
You went first.
Or there's a droid that you get on this level by default who has a flamethrower arm.
Yeah. Everyone needs a flamethrower arm. Oh, we need the mouse droid. Hold on, we have the mouse droid. No?
Now what? Oh yeah, you hit that switch and then stuff happens. I always like these levels where you have a plucky band of misfits. Especially if they're new characters, like in the Crimson Corsair level. So that level and this level are my favourites for story, stuff like that. I also like that level where it's another DLC one, and it's set during the events of the movie, where you have 2 Resistance pilots who have to escape from the exploding Starkiller base.
Why?
What is this?
It's a strength thing, but it wasn't triggering.
Back to mouse. Mouse mode. Oh yeah. Thank you. What are we doing here? Yeah, I can't get past the spider. Why don't I just come over there as well? Mars. Yeah, no, we don't have to worry about waking up the spider or anything. Now we need the gonk. I don't know the gender of the gonk. Oops.
Nope.
Is that an A-Wing? Oh, that's the song that plays in Mars' Castle. I think it's called Jabba Float, if I recall from the credits. Okay, put this back here.
Weird.
Yeah, the mouse distracts the spider.
sacrifices itself nobly.
Yeah, that's kind of the theme of this level. Every member of the droid party eventually gets killed off or sacrifices itself.
Shall I find the gonk?
Yeah. A gonk. You get given a gonk, and since this is a DLC level, it appears down here with the other DLC things. But
Oh, there's 2 gonks.
Yep.
There's a grey
There's 2
gonk
gonks in
and
the
a
game.
brown gonk.
Mm-hmm. I think not all power droids are gonks,
Oh.
but all gonks are power droids. BB-8 also has the function of a power droid, at least in this game. Alright, what do we do with this? We need to get over to the background there. What? Yeah, but I don't think Star Wars has had many great games since the buyout. Apart from, this is probably the best one, to be honest. They get a lot less than they used to. But also there's a lot of like just mobile games and
Yeah.
stuff like
low
Battlefront.
rent games. And Battlefront. Battlefront's pretty popular, right?
It's popular enough. Until they put loot boxes in or something, there was a big controversy about that.
Yeah. I try and ignore the big controversies. They tend to blow over about 30 minutes later.
But yeah, there's quite a few. I went looking on mobile recently, but a lot of them are like kind of bad free to play mechanics kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's just the way the mobile ecosystem is these days. Anthony Daniels. He's gotten older, but his C-3PO voice has remained consistent.
He spent a little time practicing it.
And he famously has, like, always been, like, completely up for any spin-off material voicing 3PO in any of it. The radio dramas, the games, like, spin-off shows. It's always Anthony Daniels. Except, I think there are a couple of exceptions, actually.
Exceptions.
There are exceptions to every rule. You know, it's not always David Prowse in the Darth Vader suit. In the fight scenes on Bespin, it was actually like some guy who's a trained fencer.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's actually funny how Matt Sloan got the job as spin-off Darth Vader, because he did a web series called Chad Vader. What was it? Day Shift Manager or something, where he played Darth Vader's brother Chad, who just had the same voice and the same suit and everything, but he just ran a little shop, like a supermarket or something. I think we don't need to do this right now.
Yeah, I'm looking for Phasma, because we need some rapid fire.
Oh. Maybe we do need to hit this thing up here. In which case we do need to do this whole puzzle over here. Blah.
Yeah, I don't think I can hit that from
Oh, you did? No, maybe not. Let's just do
Okay.
this.
What do you need me to do?
I need you to break that thing, and then build the thing in the middle. And then activate it. No, it just does itself. And then I will do this. Oh no, I'm trapped up here and I have a restriction. It's alright, my headcanon is strong enough that I will say BB-8 is a lady. There we go. Yeah, Gibbon says poor droids. It was kind of a shame how they all unceremoniously die during this level. But yeah, we saw 3PO get his arm ripped off. Is there a variation of his character in this game with only one arm?
I assume so.
Let me find it. They put all the droids at the end of the list. Classic? Oh no, it's just 3PO and 3PO Classic. Oh no, that's right. He'll be with the other DLC at the bottom. Maybe here. Where is it? Here. Nope, it's just the one. For tall. In the original LEGO Star Wars, 3PO would, as he took damage, he would lose limbs. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then he could still interact with panels and stuff, but he would hit them with his head if he'd lost both his arms.
Yep.
And then he would lose one leg and be hopping around everywhere.
Yep.
Probably making him even slower. There's definitely something here.
Yes.
Phasma. That's all the arrows in this area. Resistance. I know, let's be Leia.
Didn't we have Leia on the ring?
Did we?
Yeah, we got naked Leia.
Yes, even though it doesn't chronologically make sense, even older versions of characters can, like, at this point, the resistance is not even a thing, but Leia can still activate resistance panels.
Well, it's the same Leia. She's just dressed up as her younger or something.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
I don't know, man.
Slave Leia.
Yeah.
Or I think Carla calls it Hut Slayer Leia. Ah, yes, the acid rain begins. Watch out, because in fiction and media, acid rain is magical and burns through everything instantly.
Well, it's a different kind of acid, I guess.
Yeah. As a scientist, I have
you
to
do this?
close my ears and go, la la la. It's magic. Can I do that? Oh, Must should be able to do that. No, she can't. Find somebody. I'm pretty sure, because in some of the DLC levels, I think as a sort of incentive to get the level, they give you some characters that have a lot of useful abilities. So certain characters from DLC levels have a bunch of things that more basic characters don't necessarily. Yeah, but I couldn't find one. It's another droid down. Another droid bites the dust. Okay. Hey, Phasma. Yeah, this is the part where Omri and 3PO have to work together, you see. Because you build the one first order terminal and then you build a resistance terminal. Did I just make that up? I might have made that up. Yeah, they're both first order. Never mind. Forget I said anything.
There was a resistance one at the start, though.
Yeah. We've done this already. Where's the hatch? Here's the hatch. Make way for Prince Ali. I remember another time that acid rain thing kind of annoyed me. It was in the second Red Dwarf novel. What's it called? Better Than Life, I think it's just called, because it's in the omnibus, so I never see like the individual names of the novels, the first two ones. But yeah, Lister, after they get out of the virtual reality game, he lands on Garbage World, which is Earth in the future, and there's acid rain. They're friends. Omri goes out in the dangerous rain to do a thing to help 3PO. Even though they're technically enemies. There's actually dialogue during the level where Omri talks about how his memory was wiped and he doesn't know what he used to do before that, before the First Order got him.
It's done more than that. The distress signal has been sent. Your friends will be on their way.
Oh, poor Omri.
Your other friend, Akbar. He is on a ship in the
So this is where it ties in.
Seems you did succeed in your mission after all.
Because the next thing we do is go to rescue Akbar. And he takes Omri's arm as a tribute to his friend who helped him. Although he immediately replaces it as soon as he can. And in fact, he spends some time talking about how he hates the arm. But I think he's sort of just covering up or something, or in denial, I don't know.
Thanks, but actually I was the only pilot in the area.
Gibbons comments, "Oh no, the arm," and now, "Oh yay, the arm." That's got to be one of the funniest scenes from Force Awakens, when Han and Leia kind of see each other and they have this touching moment, and then 3PO pops in out of frame and goes, "Hello, I have a new arm."
I like that he's still alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah.
Cruel. Very cruel. They left him behind.
Great. We can get him before Kylo Ren does.
But like, so the episode of the short like film thing, The Resistance Rises, the Lego short that they put out, that the next level is based on, starts with them in the ship and 3PO going, "Oh, I've got this new arm now, but I really hate it. I can't wait to get rid of it." So I wonder if that came before they developed this idea where it was like given to him by his dead friend. Because why is he so antagonistic about it?
Classic friend.
Is he just like hiding his true feelings? Oh, we missed something again. We're not gonna 100% any levels on this stream. No, we've been going an hour. How do you feel?
Sleepy. But I've been sleepy for the past 3 days.
Yeah, lazy days at home. Actually, that's not true. We've been out doing stuff. Ice skating and karaoke and fun things. Have you drank your tea?
Oh god.
Oh no.
Tea all gone.
Want some water?
No, I'm okay.
I was looking up what's the next level, and it's obviously Poe to the rescue. But do you want to do that, or since we've been going now, do you want to like shift gears, maybe do something else? Because we've got through 3 levels in 1 hour. There's 4 more. Actually, we could do 3 more because the Rathtar hunting level doesn't really fit in like this narrative thing. I thought maybe we could do Escape from Starkiller Base, but actually let's just keep going with the chronology of this campaign because I think that's fun. Stream's stuck. Oh no, it just paused? Oh, okay, no, it's fine. I do worry about technical issues sometimes.
Technical issues.
alright.
Technical issues.
Let's keep moving.
Technical issues.
So this one starts at Dakar, actually. Poe to the rescue.
Ah, the trash compactor.
The trash compactor level. Garbage chute. Ahsoka.
Who shall I be?
I am being Ahsoka because she's great. Although she's, I don't know, she's a little underused in Rebels. That's what I kind of felt after watching all the episodes she was in. Ooh, now I pick a ship this time.
Do you have to pick a girl ship?
Well, ships don't have genders. In fact, ships are always called her, aren't they? Because of reasons.
Depends.
then I'll pick the Millennium Falcon, which definitely has L3's brain in it. Although I'm not sure if it's still in there by the time of Force Awakens period. I like to think that Lando came back at some point and got the brain out and rebuilt the droid. It's sort of implied that she's still in there, sort of, you know, like Empire Strikes Back and stuff, when 3PO is trying to communicate with the Falcon's computer and it's all being annoying to him or something. That reminds me, there was a comic in the Titan magazine.
Titan magazine?
Titan Books is a publishing company that does a magazine.
Yep. Okay.
They did a comic about Han and Chewie in the Falcon, like just before Episode 4 time kind of thing. Oh no, maybe it was between 4 and 5. Anyway, like there was this thing where the Falcon's computer was acting up, so they replaced it by finding some decommissioned battle droids from the Clone Wars and wiring them into the circuitry of the ship. And so this is made before Solo, the movie, so I'm wondering, is this what happened to L3? Eventually. But yeah, then the droids, like, activate. They take over the ship and they're like, oh, we're fighting the Clone Wars, we have to go destroy the Republic. So they fly the Falcon to Coruscant to shoot the Senate building or something. And he's like, but they shut down the Senate. So I guess it is after Episode 4.
There's something in here?
Yeah, the idea that ships have droid brains is an interesting one. Okay. Yeah. Given saying the Last Jedi novel also mentions the Falcon's droid brain, which is actually a concept from the old EU, which got grandfathered in, he says. Yeah, it's one of those things that the authors of this new EU content are aware of, so they add to their new books, and it becomes canon again. I don't know, I guess we'll just do this grappling thing, hope something shows up. Someone with a grapple. Does Cordy have one? Yes, Cordy has a grapple. I do like the Freemaker Adventures as a show. It was a fun little adventure show and stuff. I liked that it had Roger, the battle droid, as a character. So Matthew Wood could come back and do his cool Clone Wars battle droid voice. He made some good comic relief on that show. Oh, over here. There's a gonk droid there with some forcey sparkles around it. You can just see them. They're a bit more subtle than usual. I can do that. Oh, you can do that. I thought I picked a circuit. You beat me to it.
I can't.
There.
Oh.
There. Yes. Okay.
Aha.
Yeah. Sometimes it's confusing because the arrow appears where the thing will eventually be instead of where the interactable object is that you should be using to get to the thing. That's just something you gotta deal with, I guess. Now, I think, as we discussed, there is only one BB in this game. So when you see a switch like this, you gotta switch to BB-8. Actually, you know what I was really disappointed to find? There's missions in the hub, and only certain types of characters can take certain missions. Like, there's bounty hunter missions just for bounty hunters. But there's scavenger missions just for scavengers. Like, you can pick Rey for that usually, or you could even pick a Jawa. But Cordy Freemaker, who is the owner and operator of a business called Freemaker Salvage and Repair, cannot take scavenger missions. How does that make any sense? I would think that she'd be the most qualified character to take scavenger missions. So I guess these are baby Dianogers. Oh. This trash compactor is much larger than the one in the Death Star, ironically. Even though we're on a Star Destroyer, which is much smaller than a Death Star. Well, I guess
it just makes more rubbish.
maybe the Death Star had like many more smaller ones, and this is one single one for the whole Star Destroyer. Okay, I just fixed that for myself. Can't see any arrows around here specifically.
No.
But I need to get over there. So I need to build something here. There's buildable objects here, but I can't find the build spot. This is kind of annoying. I guess I don't need to. Oh, Cordy can double jump. That's weird. That might be a holdover from the old Pirates of the Caribbean idea that any female character in the game has the ability to double jump just because they do, I guess. Because women are naturally more agile than men. Oh, is this a whole subsequent thing? What is this force power thing? It's not really doing anything.
I already did those.
Oh, okay.
Just gave coins.
Coins. Beautiful monies. Republic Dataris. I'm reading the Phantom Menace novelization right now, which is actually something you read before me.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah, you actually requested it specifically. Yeah, we don't need that because I can double jump up there. Because you were familiar with the author's work already?
Yeah.
So what else does she do usually?
Historical fiction.
Okay. And then
fantasy.
also the junior novelizations of the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they got 3 different people to do the adult, quote-unquote, novelizations for the prequels. But Patricia Seary did all 3 of them for the younger versions. Oops, I'm trapped under this platform. Damn. Maybe I can pop out if I'm... Yep, okay. I got out there as a mouse droid. Let's go.
One of us has to go down there and
Oh,
destroy it.
sorry. Thank you for your noble sacrifice. Protocol. Etiquette and protocol. Now, there was a lady protocol droid, apart from PZ4C, but I'll pick PZ anyway. Yeah, actually, I think it's someone from the Droids DLC character pack. This one. The one that looks like the robot from Metropolis.
Oh, I thought she looked like the Crimson whatever.
Oh yeah, a bit like Cider Nathano. Yeah.
Our transport will be up ahead, Admiral. You ready?
I suppose flying casual is out of the question.
We're just gonna have to fight our way out.
So this is something that happens in the Resistance Rises Lego shorts, but they're not reusing footage from it for the game, I don't think. Because it's sort of done in-engine. Oops. I don't know, I'll have to look again at like the level end cutscene and pre-rendered stuff. Now there's a secret door here. That's right! It's Kylo Ren's bedroom! Remember with all the Darth Vader fanboy posters and stuff?
Oh,
Yeah.
we need some dark powers.
I think we've been here already.
Yeah, there's no arrows here.
There's 2 there. What's that about?
They're outside.
Are they though? Okay.
They're these ones.
Oh yeah, they are. That's a nice touch. I think there's a few other examples of Kylo Ren's bedroom. There's one in the hub and maybe in another level as well, but yeah, it's a funny
Oh,
detail.
the master can do that.
Oh,
Cool.
handy. Handy dandy. Hooly dooly. Herky perky. Is that you?
Yep.
Super Mouse Droid to the rescue. Are you Danger Mouse Droid?
Yep.
Man, what happened to that show? I think it did get a reboot actually recently.
Because
Oh,
Cameron
oh.
has got a ring.
Is this the thing that gives you a Stormtrooper hat? Yes. There's
Yeah.
an achievement for this.
What?
There's an achievement for putting a Stormtrooper hat on somebody. Hold on, let me look up the achievements. You can't put a hat on a mouse droid? What? No. Trophies. Oh, that's right. You put it on short person, and then the achievement is called "Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?" So find a short character.
Well, you can't do it on a mouse droid. What about young Ray? Whoops.
There's also an achievement for finishing a level in free play as Mars and Chewie. So let's do that if we remember. Maybe it doesn't count because it's a pilot's hat instead of a stormtrooper hat. Damn. No, we don't need that. That's just to kill stormtroopers coming in the door. Still a few arrows hanging around, but I think this next room's really big, so... Oh, hello. We don't need that.
I got stuck in the pieces.
Sorry.
Oh, this spin.
Yep. The mouse droid probably can't do much in this scenario.
Yep, it's forced me to be active.
I like with the instant kill extra on, that even that guy with a whole bunch of health was just knocked down in one hit. Oh, but I see some silver shinies over there. Kaboom! So what do we do next?
I'm doing it.
Cool, thanks.
I blow up the thing, and then the snowman gets released.
The Wampa.
He smashes the chairman.
Is that too loud? Oh,
I don't know why, but that's always loud.
that jingle is incredibly loud. But can you chat? Let me know if like our voices sound okay in comparison to the game sound. I'm gonna turn it down
Yeah.
because we've got like the only game sound that's coming through on the stream is what's being picked up by the mic. Which was just a concession to practicality, although it will result in less audio quality, unfortunately.
Where'd those arrows go?
There's one over here.
Oh, there's two down there. Remember
Ooh, I
when we
could do
trigger
this.
this and then you gotta hit the things?
Oh yeah, hit the things. I remember that.
Disco.
Now I need Evil Force. Isn't there a red brick for that? Oh well, I'll pick Asajj Ventress. The interesting thing about the Asajj Ventress that you get in this DLC character pack is that it's based on the minifigure that was released for the Gendy Tartakovsky animated series, not her appearance in Lego sets based on the Clone Wars TV show, which looks pretty different with the face tattoos and everything. I was pretty pleased to see that in this game. Not to mention she's just a cool character anyway. The prequel trilogy character pack is probably the best value of all the packs, I think. Because they kind of split up original trilogy stuff into separate character packs. So there's like the Jabba's Palace pack and the Empire Strikes Back pack.
Okay.
Backpack. I said backpack. Oh no. I can't change characters. Even with the shoulder buttons.
Nope.
Okay, I can throw my sabers though. Can you aim manually? Good, we got it. Well done. That's a funny little scene
we
where
destroyed the aerobics class.
the stormtroopers are doing a little aerobics routine, including Hux. Gibbon's watching 4 streams at once. Talk about your multitasker. So you always say I have like 1 viewer at a time, but I guess I have a quarter of a viewer given splitting his attention like that.
Should tell the people at work I'm streaming.
He says he can hear it. Okay. They should be working.
Should. Yes. Sometimes
Well,
people watch streams
You
and
can,
work.
you can tell people in the other team, just don't tell people in your team.
Oh, okay. I'll tell Phil, who's the other team lead.
Yeah. Distract the other team.
Except it's
Don't
not.
you have that kind of competition in
No.
your
No.
workplace?
Then nothing would get done.
Yeah. This definitely happens in the short, the animated short. But I can't tell if it's the same footage or not. Oh, but this is interesting. These shorts, there's other series of shorts that are all made by the same company, and that ship that Akbar is flying is like a holdover from earlier shows that they did. So there's one called Droid Tales, where like C-3PO is retelling the stories of basically the whole saga up to that point, and part of it.
Oh, you got it. Good job.
One of us got it. Part of it, he's accompanied by Akbar, who is flying in his fancy, like, ship that he loves, which is called the Daisy May, and it's kind of like, it's a bit like a Jedi Interceptor. At least it has the colors of Anakin's original. Well, it's kind of like, you know how Anakin's pod racer had like blue and white stripes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the original Jedi Interceptor that he flew in the 2D Clone Wars show had that same color scheme, so he'd like customized it. But then in the 3D Clone Wars show, he just had a kind of more generic one. Yeah, especially after they started
we destroy crystals?
adjusting things. I think we've got that one already, yeah. Oh, hang on. No, we haven't. Yeah, make sure to shoot the green crystals. Yeah, they started adjusting character designs in Clone Wars so it was closer to the movies, which I disagree with. I mean, the changes they made to Ahsoka's character design in Season 3 are really good, but they changed Obi-Wan and Anakin to make them more like the movies, and they ended up being less distinctive and less interesting, I think, because they had these like armor shoulder pieces and like slightly different color schemes and stuff. Everyone streams on Tuesdays.
Except
Guess it's a popular day.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, it's Wednesday. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you crazy people.
Wait, didn't we already get 10? Why is there an arrow over here?
I don't know.
Well, I'll just
Shoot
gonna
it.
blow it up.
Oh, and there's another one here.
Yeah, there's 3. I guess I could stream on Tuesday. Does everyone stream on Monday? I swear we already had 10 out of 10 and we just got another one.
Yeah, we did have 10 out of 10.
Weird.
We now have 11 out of 10.
That did happen to me on a Lego game. I forget which one. It might have been actually the Force Awakens 3DS or something, where I ended up with 11 out of 10 collectibles at some point. I'm like, okay. Did no one playtest this game? Of course, there are
This is a
many
Lego
times
game.
when you
No one playtested this
say
game.
that playing a Lego game. Yeah, Gibbon says he does remember this from the short. Yeah, all this is events taken from it. I just don't know if it's the exact same animation being reused for the cutscenes.
Also, they don't playtest it in multiplayer. There's lots of stuff that breaks in multiplayer that works fine in single player.
Mm-hmm. No, he's there. Yeah, there he goes. He says he hates it.
You weirdo, 3PO.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Given says no need to adjust my schedule. I always wonder if there's something I can do to, like, get more viewers. But then again, I don't really care that much. It'd be nice to have more people chatting, I suppose, but there's also a limit to that when you have too many people saying too many stupid things. Gibbon's a really good chatter.
And then you have to have like a moderator on there. And,
Gibbon's a moderator.
oh, is he?
Yeah, he has actually helped a couple of times. I've had like spammers come in, like trolls and stuff.
Oh. Drive-bys.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. Anyway, cool. So that was that. We rescued Akbar. So there's kind of a bit of a break now in the story, and then you get to like, I don't know if it directly follows on to the next thing, but the next thing that happens is Ottogan Assault, which is, gosh, where is that? I thought the planet was called Ottogan. I guess the people are called Ottogan and they live on Arthon.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, this is the thing where Lord Santeca has been here to get the map, and then he's left, and now we're playing as the First Order, coming here looking for him, and we capture the Ottogan leader. And then the next thing that happens is Lord Santeca coming to Jakku. Sorry. Yes.
There's plenty of loading screens.
To talk through?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's be Luminar. Another ship thing. That's right. We start off flying around, blowing up. Oh, the dragon chicken. I like this one. The Takodana skipper. It kind of looks like an animal of some kind.
I just keep picking this Naboo one because it's visually distinct.
Yeah, it's a good look, isn't it?
So
Say what you will
I can
about
tell which
Phantom
one I
Menace,
am.
but it had some good designs and stuff. And say what you will, I won't be saying anything bad because I like the Phantom Menace.
You rebel.
Yep. Whoa.
What was that?
Something fell over. I really like the look of this planet. How it's sort of like floating islands with trees wrapped around them. That's pretty cool. And it's sort of unique to this game and these events. Yes, got it.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah, so this is one of the levels where you play as the bad guy. There's another DLC level where you play through the Siege of Takodana from the First Order's perspective.
Yeah.
You play as Kylo Ren and FN2199 and some other person.
A generic
Generic Stormtrooper. Yeah, or it's this one with Phasma and Ren, I think. The free open area. Shoot a bunch of ships. Don't think there's any collectibles to get here. Oh, yeah. You always want to shoot TIE fighters by default, but on this level we are playing us the bad guys, so don't shoot the TIE fighters.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you shoot TIE fighters.
I don't think we can hurt them.
Nope.
But don't like aim at them and go after them, because that
No.
won't help at all.
You gotta pick the guys.
A race!
Red ones.
I'm doing a race! Which we've probably already done. In fact, I'm sure we've already done it, so I'm not gonna bother. I'm always the race guy. Kathy
Yeah.
leaves them to me.
Ugh, I'm also incompetent at shooting anything in this way. I know.
So I say I like the Phantom Menace, but that doesn't mean I'm blind to its flaws. I'm listening to a podcast right now called Star Wars Minute, where they have every day there's a new episode where they discuss 1 minute of the movie at a time. I think it was the original Movie Minute podcast, and other people have like taken up this formula for other movies. But because it's sort of become a standard format for podcasts in a way.
I have a banana.
Oh yeah, Silly Torpedoes is pretty good. You got the rubber ducks and the carrots and such. Is there a carrot stormtroopers cheat in this game?
I think there is.
That was one of the classic Lego Star Wars cheats. Was turn all the stormtroopers' guns into carrots, so they're completely
Carrot man.
ineffectual and they can't hurt you anymore. There is the red brick called Imperial Inaccuracy, which makes every stormtrooper miss you all the time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same thing functionally for this game.
Seriously, where's the target one? Oh, you did it.
Yeah,
Good
we're
job.
done. Gibbon says he's been listening to the Phantom Menace audiobook, and it's actually quite good. Pacing is much better, and since you're getting the reader's take on voices, but with their own delivery, that aspect is more consistent as well. That's interesting. In the audiobook, you could have actually more passionate and nuanced performances than the sort of wooden...
Professional actors, in inverted commas.
Well, they were good actors in the film. The fault is more with the direction, I think.
Oh, you think so?
I think so. I think that's the common perception of the main problem with Phantom Menace was the director. Ah, nice Wilhelm. Did you hear that? Yeah, and of course the audiobook is probably based on the original novelization of Phantom Menace, which in turn is close to the script, which again, something they bring up a lot on the Star Wars Minute podcast is how the script has like a much better story and it's more fleshed out and there's more lines of dialogue establishing character things than what is in the final movie. So I'm very curious to read the full novelization of the Phantom Menace in addition to the junior novelization, which is right there on the table.
The junior novelization is pretty straightforward, really.
Yeah, but even with its sort of brevity, it does still flesh out the characters a bit more because it has the internal monologues and stuff.
Yeah, it does. It feels... It's one of those things where, like, whenever she does stuff that's not direct movie...
Like there is a lot of
quotes.
movie dialogue in there, yeah.
Yeah. Anything that's not movie dialogue is much better.
Oh, there's a swimming fish portal over here. Can you come and do it?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. There's a Jedi thing
I'll
over
do
there. Where's the fish portal?
To the right. Let's not kill everyone because it might force us into the next area. Actually, I don't think it does.
Where?
Yeah. Do you know who reads the audiobook given? Can you tell us that?
Oh, right here.
So what's this about? Oh, we probably have to activate this terminal, which is resistance. It actually confuses me that the resistance's symbol is the same as the Rebel Alliance's. I feel like it should be different, you know?
Yeah. Would you stop trying to kill me?
Because it's also the symbol of the New Republic, although that's got like extra starburst pattern around it. It just feels like the Resistance is they're kind of a separate entity from the Republic. They shouldn't have the exact same symbol, even though they are kind of a successor and continuation of the Rebel Alliance in a lot of ways. Because the First Order symbol is basically the Empire's symbol, but with more teeth on the like gear or whatever it is. Yeah, without the DLC, you wouldn't have very many Dark Force users in this game because it's just Kylo Ren. Like Snoke is not a character in this game.
You have to get like Vader or something, who's a...
Oh, that's right, the Carbonite bricks, of course. So you get Dooku and Sidious even. Read by Alexander Adams. Okay, I don't know who that is, sorry. But yeah. Gibbons big into audiobooks.
I like a good audiobook.
I haven't listened to one in ages, but I did just get the humble bundle of Big Finish Doctor Who audio stuff, although that's mostly audio dramas. There are some audiobooks in it as well.
I guess I used to listen to more when I went to the gym. It's useful then because the gym is boring.
It is.
And it's like the most boring thing.
It was so boring that you just gave up going eventually.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Yeah. It was one of those things where I was like, at some point, this will get more interesting, and it never did. Yeah. People are like, oh no, it's really good when your
fitness improves?
Yeah, and my fitness improved, and I could do all the things, and it was still hella boring. So, yeah.
Well, I find I don't need audiobooks much because I have so many podcasts to listen to. I always have a huge backlog of podcasts.
You do. You have a massive podcast.
And then I kind of caught up with all my podcasts, and then I started listening to Star Wars Minute sometime last year, and that's been keeping me busy. So they did the first 3 movies, and I've got through that, and now they're on the Phantom Menace. So, alright, I need to, yeah, okay, you do that, I'll be Phasma. So you have to move this.
Oh. Where to? Oh, there.
Yep, just now. So the Seventh Sister is an Inquisitor working under Darth Vader to hunt Jedi. And she's trained in the dark side of the Force.
But she's not an apprentice?
Yeah, that's one of those weird things where like, oh, always 2 there are, you know, rule of 2, there's only, you know, 2 Sith at a time, the Emperor and Vader.
Except for those
But then
other Sith.
when you have spin-offs, you want to make new antagonists that can die. Because if you have Vader as an antagonist in a spin-off thing, you know he's never going to be killed. So there's no peril, there's no like sense of drama in that sense. You can still have drama, but like there's still an element of like this character's story is a foregone conclusion and you can't change it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they get around it by having absolutely tons of Dark Force users in various parts of the EU. And saying that they're not really like actual Sith, they're either just low-level kind of Force adepts kind of thing, or they're extensions of the Emperor's will.
What
so they're
does
not
that
really,
even mean?
I don't know. whatever justification they have to use to ignore the rule that there are only 2 bad guys is fine with me, because then you can have other kinds of interesting characters showing up. Like the Inquisitor's pretty cool. Oh, hang on. Gotta call these bros together.
You gotta stand in
Stop.
their circle.
I get it. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was talking to the game.
Oh.
She did an animation which is like, oh, I can't do that. Like, I know. Yeah, that's right, Given. He's saying if the factions had new symbols, that would also help them feel actually like new factions instead of just rehashes of old ones. They are like mega rehashes.
Yes.
It's pretty, yeah. Like, people do say that Force Awakens is too much of a rehash of A New Hope. And that's one of the aspects in which that is the case. I wonder if you could still headcanon Starkiller as one of the Inquisitors. Not sure which one. Given saying he wants to watch Rebels again. I don't know.
You want to try it?
Maybe your lightsaber doesn't fit because it's weirdly shaped. I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, Starkiller. I wish he was canon. No, what am I saying? I don't care about what actually is canon. I only...
Looks like such a DJ up there.
I have my own canon, which is just things that I like. I don't really care if something is nominated as being truly official or not. So yeah, Force Unleashed is really cool. You can actually be Galen Marek in Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars. He's a bonus character in that. I was really pleased to find that out. So there's something over here.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try throwing a missile over that way.
Okay.
There's a thing floating up in the air over here. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can't aim at it. Can you come a bit closer?
You
Oh!
like that?
Oh, we can just hit it. Okay, that's easy. Nice. Oh, that didn't help. Oh, it did! Okay. But there's still an arrow over there.
Yeah, I can see a thing. Can you see it? If you come just over here, there's like a...
Oh yeah,
you
there
see
it
it?
is. How do we get that? Maybe over here somewhere. Oh, the gas. We have to get through the gas.
Oh, can I walk through gas?
You have a mask, but apparently it's not protective enough.
Yeah. Can this guy? Nope. What about you? Nope. That? Nope.
I'll be this character. Metropolis robot. Their name is even ME809. I feel sure that that is some kind of reference.
Oh, we got everything.
Oh, cool. Yeah, normally in our free play things, when we get all the collectibles, we just quit. But we're pretty close to the end of the level anyway. And I feel like it's a better experience for the stream if we do the levels properly, you know? Okay, so don't worry about that. Can you force the thing on the left? And I'll shoot the thing on the right. Then we need to use explosives. Which you can either throw the missiles, or you can switch back to Sabine. Where is she? Man. Yeah, see, it took me so long to navigate the character select screen. But you did it anyway, well, what was happening?
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm saying that's how big the screen, that screen
Yeah,
is.
and unhelpful.
Right. That's it. So the Awakens are really weird because they're the same as Ithorians, who were known as Hammerheads in the very early days when they didn't have names for all the aliens and just gave them crude names based on what they looked like. You know, when Squarians were called Squid Faces. And Ponda Baba was called Walrus Man instead of an Aqualish or a Ponda Baba. So yeah, Ithorians, Voron Korob, who else is an Ithorian? Old Joe in Rebels, but he has this like mechanical device that plugs into his side mounts that lets him that translates his speech into Basic. Because it seems like Ithorians can't just talk Basic with the way their vocal structure is set up. So they invented for the new films this race that is exactly the same as Ithorians, but they have a normal mouth in the middle of their face instead of two weird mouths on the sides of their face. And which I feel like might be a retcon based on like a costuming mistake or something. The same way that like Reyes has these weird hands, but then later Grams, like the pod racer, whoever he is, or the senator, have normal hands. So they're like, oh, that early guy, he just had mutilated hands for some reason, because there's a breach of consistency with costuming. They have to ride around it. That actually comes up later in this game as well, where you have the Resistance pilot Elo Asti, who is an Abednedor, whose names are all based on Beastie Boys songs, at least most of them. The people who were naming them who knew about that convention anyway. Because I can't figure out all of them. I think some of them are... I don't know. Anyway. That was a weird sentence that was very run on. Anyway, yes, so Kythrin Ali, who you play as in the DLC level Escape from Starkiller Base, was invented because the person who was wearing the Elo Asti costume came out in the scene at the end of the movie where they're all celebrating on the car, whereas his character is supposed to have died in the battle on Starkiller Base. So they said, oh, that's not Elo Asti, that's this new guy, Kythrin Ali. And then he shows up again in Last Jedi. Yes. Was that the end of my run-on sentence? I was talking about Odigons, I guess. And they have beards now. Right, so what we just did was find that Prasta Ogun, or whatever his name is, had given the information to Lor San Tekka. So the next thing is to play as Lor San Tekka, going to his village on Jakku, where we find him at the start of Force Awakens. So, shall we do that? Yeah. Or are you done?
We're almost up to time, aren't we?
Yeah, almost. We can call it that.
Okay.
Let me see if there's anything else I wanted to mention. Yeah, I was talking about John Burton earlier. I wanted to transition into the guy who was the lead story designer for this game. So I want to thank him for the new levels and stuff. His name is Graham Goring, and similarly to how John Burton had gone back to his old game, Sonic 3D Blast, and was updating it, this guy actually makes modern recreations or remakes of like Spectrum games, including things like Attic Attack and Jetpack, which he didn't necessarily work on back in the day, like John Burton did on Sonic 3D Blast, but yeah, it's cool to bring back old games like that for new versions. Unauthorized, of course. Whizball, Head Over Heels, stuff like that. Yeah. So, Gibbon said a couple of things.
Streaming is really tiring.
I guess you get used to it with practice. Gibbon says, oh yeah, he's slowly making his way through the new EU with certain holdovers that he can fit in. Cloak of Deception was,
Han Solo
I guess,
gets
a
an
pre-Phantom
invisibility
Menace
cloak.
thing. Yeah, maybe. So where did it go? Why did he lose it by the time of later movies? Is this the story of how he lost the cloak?
Mm-hmm.
So how did he lose it?
The universe's greatest cloak collector stole it.
Lando!
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's such a good tie-in. So is it somewhere in the back of like his
Lando's
closet on
yeah.
Cloud City or something?
Yep.
Cool, I like that. And then will be the Darth Plagueis novel is the next thing that Gibbon's reading. Yeah, cool stuff. I did a similar thing with just reading novels where I read the novelization of New Hope, and then Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which was the first EU novel and was originally supposed to be the sequel film until they got more money to do Empire. And then I read Empire, then I read Shadows of the Empire, and then Return of the Jedi, and now I'm reading these junior novelizations of the prequels. I also read Spaceballs, the movie, the novelization. Good times. Okay, we're done. Thanks for joining us. This has been enjoyable. I hope you've had a good time too. Thank you for being here. This was fun.
Face cam.
We probably won't be able to do it too often.
No,
this was
because
a
I have to go work.
Special one-off edition thing.
Yeah. I'm going to go to work on Tuesdays. You'd have to stream on
Wednesdays.
like... Yeah, you'd have to stream on like at night.
Yeah, but at night, all the Americans are asleep. At our night, it's there like 3 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be streaming for like the Europeans.
Yeah, but I don't have any Europeans who are
No.
regular viewers. Or I would, maybe. Yeah, okay. So that's it. Bye-bye. This actually setup worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Kind of. So, yeah, that was good. So, yeah. See you next time.